Welcome, amazing agents from across the country. Today is Thursday, May 31st, 2018, and this is Mastermind call number 179. We have two people in the queue. Room for more, just hit *6 and hit 1. Only thing I wanted to share real quick with the group this week, my partner Chad and I will be at the Nevada Association of Realtors meeting next week. I will be in Phoenix the following week. If any of you are in those cities, if you're going to be at any of the events we're attending, we'd love to have you come by our booth and, meet you face to face. The rest of this year we'll be going to Las Vegas, Phoenix, San Francisco, Orlando, Wilmington, North Carolina, Chicago, Indianapolis, Atlanta, Boston, and Atlantic City. I'm tired already. Unfortunately, I'm not going to all of those personally, but so we're going to, every couple of weeks we'll be in a different city. And if you're going to be there, you can actually just go to the calendar in our website and you'll see where we're going to be and when we're going to be there. Also, I just wanted to share with you all, we've done a couple really good webinars lately with some of our most successful agents. I did one about 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, for Vulcan 7 with Bill Bird out in California. He's done nearly $1 million in probate commissions in the last year. And then Chad did a great one with Lab Coat Agents yesterday. That's a really popular real estate website with 3 of our most successful agents. So if any of you are Vulcan subscribers or on the Lab Coat site, watch those webinars. You can really learn from agents that have really made this a huge niche in their business. And that's pretty much all I have this week. Tim, anything you want to share with the group?
No, Bud, let's just get on rocking here. We've got to kind of keep it short today, and I'm not going to take anybody's time up.
Chad, anything you want to share?
The June role play call is coming up on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday the 6th at 2 p.m. Eastern. If you need a number, you can. It's this same number. You'll get an email the day before, the hour before, or you can always look under conference calls for the number. But June 6th, bring your objections, language that's working. If you've got a script that you've worked out or language that's working for you, bring it by and let everybody else try it on for size. So.
Hey, Chad, you and I will be right in the middle of that convention. You sure you want to do it on the 6th, or you want to push that back a week?
Well, it's going to be during session, so I'll be able to go to the room and do it.
As long as it's not when you're on stage, and actually,
no,
I think it is.
I'm speaking at 10:30 that morning, I believe.
Okay, all right. You can talk to Chad from his hotel room next Wednesday for the role play call. That's great. Tommy, anything you want to share?
Nothing specific. Just always remind everybody we're here to help. If you need anything, just send us an email at support@alltheleads.com, and we track those items and then assign them to the appropriate people to get back to you promptly. So just remember that.
And I am going to repeat myself again, Chad, but I remember I've said this before. always be very specific about what you need help with. And we now have I think there's about 15 of us on our team, and everybody reads that, and somebody will get back to you within minutes in most cases. The more specific you are with what you need help with, the better. Support@alltheleads.com. All right, well, great. Well, we have 3 people in the queue. As I said, please try to get in early this week. If you would like to participate, just hit *6 and then hit 1. And first up this week is phone number ending in 3919. You're up first.
Yeah, hi, this is Kenton Kaufman. I'm in St. Louis. I'm an agent and investor, and I'm with a company we've got probably around 60 rehabs going all the time. And basically what I ran across the other day, this is my kind of first dive into probate. So this is actually my first appointment on my first round of calls with probate. But I ran into a scenario where the owner said that his attorney wasn't recommending to get a contract yet for the sale of the home. And then I kind of, had some rebuttals of that the attorney would be, happy to hear that he has someone for the sale of the home. And then basically had it lined up, and then I actually had already assigned that contract, hadn't closed yet. And the attorney and we were waiting for the closing, from kind of the approval of the attorney. The attorney reached out to me, or told the owner that he couldn't sell for less than 90% of an appraised value, and the appraised value is really high. So anyway, right now I made up a separate document to get all the heirs to agree to the sale, and that they won't count the personal rep responsible or like try to come after him, as far as what the sale price was. And then I'm also getting a third-party appraisal and kind of putting together a packet to submit to the attorney on, why we are offering a fair price. So anyway, just trying to see how everybody else has dealt with this in the past and kind of best practices for this scenario.
What state are you in?
Yep.
I'm in Missouri.
Really? No, we don't have much experience with that. It's not typical for an attorney to stand in the way of a market value sale. In California, they present it to the court and start what's called an overbid process. So the public has a chance to overbid your offer. But I've never heard of that, and I think you've done all you can do. I think you made the smart move. I couldn't give any better advice than what you've already thought of.
Okay.
Yeah, congratulations on getting quick results. I mean, right out of the box, I was just going to say, it sounds like you've got an attorney that is not doing a very good job of kind of staying in his lane. That's really not something that attorneys usually do. They usually kind of run the other direction. So,
have you had a chance to spoken with that?
Oh, sorry,
Tim, you're breaking up. You're breaking up, Tim.
Have you spoken with that attorney yet?
Yeah, so I've spoken with him, once with a voicemail saying that, to get with him because he thinks that this contract should be null and void, like based on the circumstances that he signed it before the letter or the attorney gave approval. So anyway, I had a conversation with him, and I'm not sure that he's that appraisal that they had was of $125,000 for this condo, and that's really that's the ARV value, and it's really an as-is type sale. So anyway, I tried to kind of educate him that it really was a fair market value, but he was still resistant to it and kind of thought that he claimed that the seller had a language barrier. He was just, I don't know if he was really coming from a spot of feeling responsible to his client to try to make sure that he does get a fair price, or if he's just trying to kind of keep it held up longer. But basically, because he was resistant, tonight I'm getting the document signed by all the heirs, saying that they agree to all the terms and they're on board with the sale at the terms that we agreed on. And then tomorrow I was going to let him know that I had that signed. That way, in case he was trying to fight me more, then I already had kind of my documentation in line,
Right, and like Chad said, I'm sure you've really done a great job of buttoning all that up. But I think my question is, see if this particular attorney is representing more than one person in your market. In other words, do they handle? I mean, there's got to be some extenuating circumstances. Getting out of their lane. That's a very unusual thing for the attorney to do. I mean, their role in this, unless he does in fact, is typically to get the probate closed, and that's not his job. But I'm just wondering if you had a chance to sit down with him face to face and figure out what's going on. The other side of this is we've had lots of calls where folks have taken that kind of and then turned it around, and that attorney has become a great benefactor for them in the future and furnishes them leads and all that. So I'd dig through your leads and see if he's handling more than with that accordingly.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that advice. I haven't had a chance to sit down with him yet. This has all been like within this week, so it's been moving pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I
will
plan
say
on.
Kudos to you for building the trust that you have with the family and them being willing to sign that document. I will say one thing that you can have is kind of a fallback plan. If you could get an appraiser, if an appraiser will give the true as-is value, if he pushes back on the document, your next step might be get a licensed appraiser in Missouri to present, the real value. That's about all you can do. the suspicion in the back of my mind is, does he have a friend who really wants to buy this house too? It certainly sounds like that.
Yeah. Okay. I actually do have an appraiser scheduled, and he's aware of like the context of the sale. But yeah, I am gonna try to kind of spin the attorney to a point where he's, to where he realizes that he's dealing with an experienced investor, and that it could be, powerful for the future whenever he has other scenarios like this, that I would be a good buyer, Yeah. So, okay. Well, yeah, I was just trying to see if there was anything that I had overlooked, but it sounds like I'm on the right track, and I appreciate you guys' help.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Please come back and let us know how you did, please, how it works out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have 4 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 8055. You're up next.
Yeah, hi, this is Dave Sneehall from Berkshire Hathaway. I'm in Chicago. Had a couple questions here in regards to the ISA service for ATL there. I was originally signed up to do the ISA service for the PRs, personal representatives, and apparently there was another agent already doing it on autopilot, so they took me off the program. And I was talking to Cindy over there, and she's in support with you guys. I'm sure you probably know who that is. But she was asking me if I would be interested in doing the ISA service for the attorneys, and I want to get some feedback if anybody's tried that or how well that might work, and just kind of see if there's any feedback as to anybody with experience on that.
Sure. So if anybody's on the line who has completed an attorney campaign, you can press *6 and then 1, and when you come up in the queue, we'll give you a chance to answer his question. I'll go ahead and answer with what we see from the call center. Across all calls, we're averaging a 6.75% conversion rate. So if we make 100 attorney phone calls for you, then you're very likely to be in front of 6 to 7 of them that week. And they're sticking really well. So using a third party is kind of the trick for getting through on the phones. We coach everybody to build your attorney network in person. So drop by and introduce yourself to the attorney. But if you're just not getting that done, that's why the ISA calls are there. A lot of folks have tried it on their own. It seems to be a lot easier to get through the gatekeeper calling as a third party on your behalf. And so far, as far as I know, every appointment has stuck, and most everybody gets appointments on their first campaign and gets referrals immediately. Because once the attorneys realize they're not dealing with just a typical realtor or agent or investor, then they immediately start sending referrals. So we'll give anyone else a chance that's in the queue behind you to answer their personal experience, but that's what we see from the call center.
Okay.
I was just going to add the good thing with the attorney call, not only the higher conversion rate, but there's a lot of duplicates in there. So even though it's maybe 3 times the cost per call because they're much harder calls, harder to get through, it's actually a less expensive campaign for you. If you have 100 leads, chances are there's probably not going to be more than 20 or 25 attorneys, and we dedupe them, and we don't call the same attorney over and over again for you. So,
right.
Yeah, hopefully that helps. If anybody does have experience and they want to jump in, and please hit *6 and hit 1, and we'll get you in the queue. Does that help?
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I know it's a fairly new program. Cindy did explain that to me, and I didn't know if I would have anybody that's had an experience with it just because of the nature of the program being fairly new. But she recommended I get on the call and kind of see if there's anybody else that I can get feedback from before I commit to it.
Perfect. Hopefully somebody will do that. Also, go in our Facebook group. I think there's been a few comments in there about it. But, Hopefully we just had a few people. We just had 3 people jump in, so I'm assuming maybe one of them will be will be commenting on what you asked. So hopefully we'll get to them. They'll be up in a few callers. All right. Well, thank you, David. Next up is phone number ending in 6818. You're up next. Grant, you're up. Hey, Grant, we hear you breathing. Phone number ending in 6818. Grant Griffiths. You're up. Okay, I guess Grant is unavailable. Let me try one other thing here. Grant, can you hear us now? All right, Grant, if you would just hit *6 and hit 1, and we're going to drop you to the bottom of the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 6818. Oh, that's you again, Grant. You're in there twice. Can you hear us now? How about phone number ending in 8797? You're up next.
Hey, it's Ellen. Hi, guys.
Good, Ellen. Glad to hear a voice. I was getting worried there. I thought I was talking to myself.
I just have a strange question. Where are the ISAs located? Where's the call
New York.
center?
It's
New
in
York?
New York. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all I need. Rick, do you have any questions? That's it. That's it for us. Thank you.
Ellen, I know, have you started using them yet or not?
My letters just went out. My first set of letters just went out yesterday, so I'm scheduled for ISA calls on June 6th.
Okay, perfect. Please come back. Let us know how you're doing with it.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. We only have one more person in the queue, guys. We got room for plenty more. When I said we had to get out on time, that doesn't mean 20 minutes. So please hit *6 and hit 1. And we have time for questions, comments, success stories, challenges. It's an open forum, guys, so, nothing's off limits. Hit *6 and hit 1. Otherwise, I hope we have a long question from phone number ending in 6031. You're up next.
Hi, it's Russell. How are you?
Hey, Russell, great.
So my experience with attorney calls, I'm looking at my results. There were 13 calls made, and I take that to mean that is a gross number. That's dials, correct? 13 dials?
Typically, we only have one number for the attorney, so yes.
Okay, so from that I got one appointment and met with that attorney, a couple of weeks back, and it was well received, but no business has come of that to date. That being said, I've met with 3 other attorneys that do probate work that I already knew, and I was well received at all of them, and nothing's come out of that. But I don't know. My view of this is that it's more of a long game than than I was going to have immediate business dropped in my lap.
Yep,
it can be
correct.
both. I mean, some people get covered up immediately, and sometimes it takes a while. Do you have any kind of a system in place for them, Russell? So you've got, let's say, 4 good relationships now. I mean, how do you get back in front of them?
That's a good question as to how I stay in touch with them, because as I said, I already knew 3 of them personally, and so when I went to meet with them, I brought them multiple copies of the trifold brochure that I had created. And but beyond that, I really have not come up with a good way to stay in touch.
I was going to recommend you drop off some more trifolds, but if you feel like they're stocked, I think a good touch would be just sit down and call them and say, hey, I just wanted to check in and make sure you guys don't need any more brochures, or if there's anything I can do for you right now.
Well, the other thing that's a good idea. And the other thing that I was going to do is, I have a probate website, and it has a section for professional referrals, various of the people that would be part of my team, where they can, where I can mention them, and I may recanvass with these attorneys, and as you know, there are canons with respect to attorneys not soliciting business, but that may not be quite the same proposition as being on a referral page on a website. So, I thought I'd go back to all of them and make that offer.
Yeah, and anything you can do to keep in front of them and keep remind them. impress them again until they give you the first referral, and then they'll never forget you.
Right. Right. So, one unrelated question real quick, and Chad, maybe you want to send me to someone in your office. There was, speaking of recorded calls with people who are converting well, there was a call I listened to last week. It was a woman who's an agent in Richmond, and she is really good on the phone, and I must have misread which call that was.
Sorry about that. I don't know what that was, but we're okay. Go ahead. You there?
I think you may have disconnected, Russell.
No, I got disconnected. When I signed back on, it seemed to disconnect everybody who was in the queue. Sorry about that, guys. If you're in the queue, hit *6 and hit 1 again. We just had a little bit of a technical failure with our website. There we go. They're all back. All right. I think this... Go ahead, Chad. You had a comment while I look for Russell.
Well, I was just, if he doesn't come back in, Russell, I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Sam. So if you want to send me an email or give me a call after this, I'll connect you with her.
Russell, is that you with the 919 area code?
No, that's not Russell.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, sorry about that, Russell. We had our website went down for about 2 seconds, at least on my screen, and you got disconnected. If you want to hop back in, just hit *6 and hit 1 again. In the meantime, next up is Grant. Are you back this time? 6818.
Yes, hello. How are you guys?
Good. Glad we got you this time. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey, sorry about that. So, quick question for you. I got a call yesterday from a guy. He's out of state. I'm in Chicago. He lives in Florida. His dad passed away in January, and now the stepmom is living in the home. Now, he said that she has a life estate, which I was not aware of, but I guess from, just some quick research, she is, responsible for that during the life of the person represented, or of the deceased while they're alive, but then once they pass, then I believe her rights are negated, and she really doesn't have much say. And so my question is, is that correct? What do you guys know about that? And then secondly, he wants to sell the property, get her out. So what would be the best gameplay moving forward? Is he allowed to evict her, considering that she's not, on title and is not associated with this estate? Or what sort of questions would you guys need moving forward?
So they were married, the deceased and the occupant?
I believe so. I mean, he referred to her as his stepmom, but I didn't get a confirmation that they were married.
So that's the first question. If they were married, then it's very likely state law will protect her from what he's trying to do to her.
Okay.
She had a legal relationship with the deceased, even if she's not in the will and even if she wasn't on title. In most states, she will have some right to that, to stay in her home. So it would be a good reason for you to connect with the probate attorney and introduce yourself and say, listen, I haven't told Mr. Smith that I'm calling you, but I just wanted to introduce myself, kind of let you know what it is that we do. I mean, we can handle probate from end to end, but I think there's a red flag here that you may want to know about. And I just wanted to understand everybody's rights and kind of work with you, not, so I'm not doing something that's going to make your job harder. And they'll be impressed that that you're the real estate professionals calling, trying to make their life easier. And let him rule on it and tell you what your next move is. But if they were married, I would say that she has a right to be there, and she, evicting her, I mean, it's probably not the right thing to do anyways, right? She just lost the man she loved, and you're going to kick her out of her house. So the best solution would be something she was on board with, if you could all meet together. If the relationship is there to do that, talk to the attorney, get his ruling on it, and then try to get the whole family together and work out an amicable agreement.
Gotcha. So then the attorney would obviously know whether or not they were married then? He's dealing with all that?
He may not. I mean, you may have to speak with the family. I don't know if the attorney will. I guess they could look up marriage records. But if they're working the probate case, they should know. Do you know if there was a will?
I do not.
Okay. If there was a will, she would be listed in there as the spouse. And so there's a few things that need to be looked at. Was there a will? How was title held to the property? Like, they could be telling you she's not on title. I would go do, at least look at the tax card and see. If they were, if for example, if they held the property as tenants as tenants in common in joint tenancy, then with a spousal property petition, it could go to her and the kids would be cut out. It wouldn't be part of the probate. So there's a few questions you need to answer first before you know what everybody's rights are. But I would definitely sit down and do that with the attorney, because they're going to have the expertise to answer that. But it gives you an opportunity to really build a relationship with them and show them that you're cooperative and complimenting their efforts.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right, come back please next week. Let us know how it turned out. And we have 4 in the queue now. Thank you, guys. I recognize one of our brand new subscribers is up next. Phone number ending in 3549. You're up next, Rosemary.
Hi, it's Rosemary. My question is this probate mastery course that you have.
Mm-hmm.
On your website, it says it's also online, that I could do it that way, and I'm just inquiring about it.
So we teach it as a live class once a month, and we use GoToWebinar and video record everything that we do. So if you want to take the course in your own time, we finish session 3 is this afternoon at 4 Eastern.
Okay.
If you want to go ahead and sign up, I'll send you the recordings from yesterday and the day before.
Okay.
And you can either join us live this evening or you can watch the recording. The recordings typically come out within an hour or so after the session ends.
Okay, and then is it my understanding you take a test? Is that right?
No test for this. This is more participation than taking a test.
Okay. All right. Well, how do you get the certification then?
Sign up and participate.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. And one other question. One other question about the website. I'm looking at that you provide a website. And do you find that people, when they're looking into realtors, actually go to this probate website? Are you finding a lot of I'm sorry, go ahead.
But for sure they do. And I could, using Google Analytics and Jetpack Analytics and built into WordPress, I could literally tell you what time the mail was delivered in my town. If I sent out 100 letters, I would get at least 50 unique web hits in that afternoon, like in an hour or so. So what that told, and every come list me call I've ever gotten, I put the domain in the PS line of my letter. So PS, if you're not ready to talk to anyone just yet, go here to learn more about our service. And what I found was the come list me calls would typically be 6 to 12 months from the date of death. So they got the letter in the first 3 months. They read the letter, went to my website, and then made a decision to call me at a future date. And when those people would call, they were ready for paperwork. And I gave the website a lot of all the credit for that, because I hadn't spoken to them, and they would call me to tell me to come list their property. So it's very effective at that. It's just an extension of your letter, and you're kind of a credibility source for them. A lot of people have kind of a misconception that it should index or needing to spend money on SEO or it's a lead capture site. It's really not. That's not really the purpose. The purpose is to give you credibility, and think of it as an extension of a one-page letter. It gives them a chance to really see that you are an expert. And if you want, you can call the main number and speak with Jeremy. He can show you some demo sites.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Welcome, Rosemary. Please keep coming back every week and participating. We appreciate it. All right, next up is the gentleman I accidentally unmuted before. Phone number ending in 3570. You're up next.
Hey, guys. How you doing this afternoon?
Good. Hey, what's your name? I'm sorry.
Oh, my name's Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Okay, so two questions actually. One, I'm relatively new to this real estate investing business. So when I'm talking to sellers, this is the first time I'm talking to. They're calling me back off of letters, or I've gone like 4 letters out and I haven't gotten any response. So now I'm calling them to gauge their interest in selling their property. How would I talk to them? And like initially, because sometimes I feel like I'm when I call, they're like, I don't want to say aggressive, but put off by my call. Is there a better way for me to approach them?
Apparently.
Right.
So, have you listened to any of our role play calls?
No.
So I would recommend you start there. With
Okay.
we kind of break apart the initial conversation. Where most people get stopped is when they call and go immediately for the real estate, or they call and immediately identify themselves as a real estate investor.
Okay.
So what we recommend and what we found to be most effective is have a broader scope of service than just I buy houses. So you want to approach it the same way that a lot of our realtors do. Hi, my name's Chad. I'm a local probate. I'm a probate expert here in town. I've built a team of people that are assembled specifically to help you with your situation. And as part of that, we do research at the courthouse. Noticed you were representing an estate, and I just wanted to introduce myself and help you understand what it is we do, and see if there's any way we can help. What's the toughest thing for you guys right now so far? And so your meetings, because what everyone wants to know in the first 20 seconds of a conversation is, who the hell is this? How the hell did they get my information, and what do they want?
Exactly.
And
yep.
the best way to defeat those objections is don't let them arise. Take control of the conversation from the second they pick up the phone.
Okay.
So go listen to our role play calls. If you're in subscriber portal, go to the top under education and training, conference calls, access call archive, and you've got over 30 hours of role playing that you can listen to. And a lot of it is agent broker role play, but it's no different. We cross train our investors and our realtors the same way. If you don't identify like everybody else and you offer a much wider service that no one else is, then it's really easy to differentiate yourself and start the conversation. And then once you get into it, you can find your natural segue into the real estate conversation, and you can determine their timeline, motivation. And have you bought homes before? Have you done a deal yet?
Just working with other investors, starting out bird dogging and things of that nature.
Okay. Well, you'll get a feel for it. Someone who will sell a home at a wholesale price is night and day from a person who wants retail. So in the first minute of a call if you're going to buy the house typically. So if you're not feeling that, then you can just go down the path of turning that into a referral for your real estate partner. Do you have a realtor or broker on your team?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So if you're not feeling that strong level of motivation and urgency, then just stay on the phone and continue to ask good questions, but just know that your outcome is going to be getting them over to your brokerage partner.
Okay. So with that said, how do I subscribe to your how do I subscribe?
Oh, you're not a subscriber. You're talking to the right person. As soon as this call is over, give me a call. My name is Jim. My direct number here is 954-281-4264. 954-281-4264. Just give me a call, and I'll walk you through the whole process.
Okay, I appreciate that, Jim. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you participating.
Yeah, thank you, Chad.
Next up, we have two more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 6248. You're up next.
Hi, my name is Joyce Arnson Morris, and I'm interested in the attorney program, and I cannot find it on the website. And number two, I'm interested in the role play that you just mentioned with the previous caller, and I'm looking at coaching and training on the website, but I don't see role play. I see fast track training, conference calls, probate mastery, tools and resources, and facts, FAQs.
So it should be on the education and training tab. It's this same number the first Tuesday or the first Wednesday of each month at 2 p.m. And
Chad, it's under the conference calls.
Well, I don't know if she's a subscriber. It sounds like.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Joyce, are you a subscriber or no?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
she is. Okay, good.
So click on education and training, conference calls, and you'll see that it's the second one down.
Okay, and then
And you'll get an email, Joyce, the day before and the hour before, because you're a subscriber. You're obviously on our email list, so you'll get that on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Oh, thank you.
With the number.
Oh, that's good. And can you please tell me where on the website you describe the attorney program?
We don't really have anything for that on the site right now. In a nutshell, we will call each attorney for you. It's $7.50, which is more than the $2.50 we charge for a personal rep, because it takes us about 5 times longer, and we have to use our most skilled callers. So it's a flat $7.50. But typically, you're going to run 1 or 2 attorney campaigns and be set for your career. So and as Jim said earlier, we do dedupe the list. So if you have 100 leads, there may only be 25 or 30 attorneys, and we'll call them once.
Okay. So who do I talk to about doing that?
You can put the order in and under Mailbox Motivator, order marketing campaign, and at the bottom you can click phone calls only. And then you choose attorney or personal representative. If you want us to do it for you, you can just call the main line and press 1 for support, and we'll help you out.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Joyce. Does that help?
It does. Thanks a million.
Excellent. We have 2 more in the queue. Perfect timing, guys. Phone number ending in 1359. You're up next.
Yeah, this is Jeff. Just getting started in the program up in the Pacific Northwest, and I guess a couple questions. Earlier question helped me out just because I'm struggling a little bit with the calls, and I know I just got to practice more and role play. So that was helpful to deal with some of that. Fortunate, I guess, a success. The first group of letters, I did have someone call in, and I'm in the middle of my first deal. Not anything major, but it's a little single-wide mobile home for $15,000. But helping out in relation to completely cleaning out the residence, cleaning the residence, landscape around the residence, and some carpet replacement. And fortunately, I even found a buyer across the street from the place, so I'm handling buyer and seller on that one. So it's a quick little success, which is always fun to get right off the bat. That some people actually do read the letters. I guess the thing that I'm struggling with, and just curious how you are gaining the information about the personal representative, because I've had about 10% return on letters that went to personal representatives with addresses that weren't accurate or correct. As I'm digging into them, some of them don't have apartment numbers, and the personal representative live in apartments, and so they're coming back with insufficient addresses. As well as then phone calls that I'm trying to make to the personal representatives where I don't know if there's a cross-reference directory you're using in relation to addresses, but there seems to be a number of phone numbers on there that aren't the personal representative or relative or aren't related. So how is that information being gained? I mean, some of it's accurate, but I'm finding just some real interesting. So some of my calls have been rather challenging because I'm calling people who have no clue why I'm calling.
Right. So the data that we gather is coming directly from the courthouse, and the way it gets there is a member of the family goes to the probate clerk, sits down, fills out forms, and then the probate is filed. So it's less than 30 days old, and it was written by them. Like the information was provided by the party you're trying to reach. So that doesn't eliminate human error. Like there could be mistakes, which is pretty rare in the data. In my experience, I mean, I tracked my first 12,000 pieces of mail and I had a return address, and out of my first 12,000 mail pieces, I had 6 envelopes returned. So I started taking the return address off to see how that would affect it. And that's pretty typical. Like a very, very small percentage of this mail is typically returned because it's accurate data that was recorded by the person you're mailing within the last 30 days. We can look into that and see why you might be getting returned. Do you still have the envelopes? You still have the returns?
Yeah, I do. I have one that came back yesterday where the PR that was envelope said that the unable to forward, that the person had already moved.
So we do address verification before every mailer goes, or before the data goes out. So we do ping it and make sure it is a valid postal service mailing address. So if you're getting that type of return, I guess maybe the PR moved during the process, like in the last 30 days is the only thing I can think of. And this is the time of year when a lot of people move. I'm not sure, but if you want, we can look into it. It's a really uncommon problem. We don't hear about this very much.
Yeah, I guess part of the reason I'm asking is I can see the docket number and I can actually pull up the document through the docket number on our courts here in Pierce County. I think the challenge here, and I'm not sure how you get them. The average Joe, when trying to get that information, typically you either need a docket number or you need a name in order to pull up the specifics about a probate or divorce or others. And then when you pull that information up, it gives like the attorney's name and it gives the personal representative name and deceased, so you get the general information, but it doesn't give you any of the detail about who that you actually have to buy or pay for the different pages of the probate filing in order to get that other information.
Yeah.
So
that's why our prices are all over the board. But I assure you, I mean, 99.9% of the time, if you take our list to the courthouse, you'll find it's a dead match. It almost sounds like, I don't know, it's rare, but if you want us to look into it and figure it out, we can do that. Just email support with if you can do it, email the list that we're talking about, like which month it was and what the return addresses were, and we can ask the researcher to double check. And did we fulfill your mail, or did you do it on your own?
I'm doing it on my own right now just because to control the costs. The first group of lists I bought, I signed up just after a prior list had gone out, so I went ahead and bought that list. That group went out without return addresses, and then my next group went out with return addresses, and so obviously the one with return addresses I'm seeing returns, but and I understand that there's a percentage of this, I don't expect it to get a 100% success. I know this is a numbers game, but I'm just finding it different.
It's not really. I mean, our data quality is higher than almost any list out there, and if you use our mailing service, we'll actually verify each address for you. So
right.
before your mail is ever printed, we go out and ping a database and make sure that it is a deliverable address, and I think probably at about 100% accuracy. I'll move on to the second part of your question because we're running out of time and we've got a few more. So the second part, when you're calling John Doe and you get the wrong John Doe, that typically is going to happen on common names. So the personal representative's phone numbers are not included on the public data. So we've developed a system that will go out and get you valid phone numbers in a cascading order. So the one at the top is the most likely, and then it decreases as you come down. What we find in our call center is we have about 95% success rates with the numbers we're pulling. It's not a perfect science, so you've unfortunately experienced two of the exceptions in mail and phone calls. But usually when that happens, it's because it's a common name and there was somebody else in that market that had the same name. So if it was a John Smith, then there's probably 17 or 28 of those in the market. We do our best to try to tie it to an address, but sometimes you can't. So it's usually best to answer the phone saying, "Hey, I'm trying to reach John Smith," instead of,
right.
"Hey, is this John Smith?" It's a whole different reception. Like if you're wrong, they're like, "Well, this is his wife. Who is this?" Versus, it's just try to say, "Hi, this is Chad. I'm trying to get a hold of John Smith. Have I got the right number?" And then
right.
you shouldn't get blasted if you call someone else or the wrong John Smith.
I haven't gotten a whole lot of negative response. So I'm not, and I understand that some people don't want to take e-calls. So, I'm working on the thick skin thing. But
well, congratulations on coming right out of the chute and taking action. So, and you got an early success. That's great.
Yep.
All right, sir. Thank you. Anything else?
No, I'm in building my team. I got a referral for an attorney, and I was able to meet with an attorney last week. We spent about an hour together, so it was a good opportunity to hear from their side as far as what that referral process might look like. And so and then I looked through the list and pulled up that attorney list and realized there's about 3 or 4 names on my list that he's the attorney for. So I've sent him a follow-up thank you note, and then I'm going to send him a follow-up email today to say, hey, by the way, I noticed that I've got several clients on my list that you're the attorney for the case, and see if I can't get referrals. So I think that'll turn into a good referral source. That's just building that relationship.
Perfect. Good job on both counts. Thank you very much for sharing with the group. We have 2 more in the queue, guys, and we're going to cut it off this week and we're going to wind up right on the hour if possible. And next up is phone number ending in 3510. You're up next.
Hi. For the attorney fee, you say that it's a flat fee for 4 or 5 calls. Is there a fee per attorney until there is contact, or is the fee per attorney per month until there is contact? Of course, based on what the agent signed up for.
So for $7.50, we will call the attorney once on your behalf, and if we don't speak with them, we'll leave a message. But it's not typical they hang up. We either leave a message or we speak with them.
Okay. And so that's a fee of once per month. So it's the same process as the PR.
I'm sorry, somebody just stepped in my office. Could you ask the question again?
Sure. So it's the same process as the PR calls.
It's very similar.
It's one fee per month per personal representative or attorney. It's just the attorney fee is more expensive because, in theory, there's additional work behind that.
Correct. And if a lot of people do one list at a time, or you can put it on autopilot. In that case, it would follow what you said. It would be per month. So each month we would call the attorneys.
And how do you handle it if there's multiple attorneys and they may have a misspelling in their name?
I haven't seen that actually. You're saying like if it was John Smith and John Smoth was actually the same attorney?
Correct.
Tim, do you know, are we deduping by office, by firm address, or by attorney last name, or what's the dedupe on?
Yeah, they don't. They're not going to make. They're not going to make two calls to the same attorney for the same person. They'll definitely.
Here. So the dialer, I just answered my own question. So the dialer will actually dedupe based on number. If that were the case, and we dedupe by name, if we upload that list into the dialer and it shows 5551234, then it will automatically merge the records into one. So we'll only make one call to that number.
Okay, so the misspelling in the name is irrelevant. It'll only be the one attorney phone call.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We last up this week. We saved the best question for last. No pressure. Phone number ending in 6927. You're up last. 6927. Are you there?
Yes, it's Melanie Clay. I just have a quick question.
Sure.
It's to do with the date of death on the probate list. When it's missing, what does that mean?
It probably means there was human error in the records room, and our researcher didn't have anything to populate the field with, so they didn't.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, you got to be dead to have a probate, so it's a pretty good chance that there is a date. It just isn't there. Well, we've had some kind of once in a lifetime questions today, but it's a good question. Yeah, if you see it, it's just and the same thing that the other gentleman said. We find that almost always it's a clerk at the courthouse that makes an error, but there are times when our researchers miss stuff too. So, if it's one or two, don't worry about it. If you see a pattern like that gentleman, you should never have 10% of your letters coming back. So there may be something going on there that we can investigate. But yeah, you won't see that too often. It like Chad said, it was probably the clerk at the courthouse just missed entering the date on that field.
Right. It just this most recent list seemed to have the most. So I just wondered why. Okay.
All right. Excellent. Good, unusual questions today, guys. We appreciate the success stories, the question, the participation, and see, all I got to do is say we're going to get done in time, and we accomplished it. I really thank all of you for showing up today. I remember next Wednesday is our monthly role play call at 2 p.m. Eastern. A week from today, same time, is our next Mastermind call. And I want to end this call the way I do every week. I want to thank everybody for taking an hour out of your life to be here. We hope you learned something. I want to thank everybody who participated. And I want to challenge everyone, take one idea, one thing, one story, something that inspired you on today's call. Go out and put it into practice, and please come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great week, and we will talk to you same time next Thursday. Take care.